Hello, lovelies. I'm back with another couple of dueling decks. This is my deck dialogue work as I prepare for the Mindful Tarot Drop 'em 78 challenge, right? This is this challenge. We're doing it for the second year in a row. So much fun. I mean, like the highlight of my tarot year in so many ways, where we go through a single deck that we have committed ourselves to day by day, card by card, for the last 78 days of the year, the last basically 2.5 months, October 15th through December 31st, starting with the Ace of Pentacles, moving through the Pentacles, then into the Wands, then into the Cups, then ending the Minors with the Swords, and then diving into the Major Arcana and the Fool's Journey, ending up with the World on December 31st. So part of the challenge is, what does it feel like? What does it do to the heart and the soul to really dive into a deck day by day, having the deck meld with the experiences of your life and vice versa, reading your life through the cards, reading the cards through your life, starting with what you know about each card day by day, but then adding to that knowledge through the experience of that day and through your detailed observation of the card itself. So, there are lots of ways to pick a deck to work with, but even that process of picking the deck that you're going to use is kind of enlivening and exciting, an opportunity to learn more about your cards, more about yourself, yada, 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 all the things we love to do in Mindful Tarot. And an invitation, if you haven't already joined our community, to come join us, if you care to, join our Facebook page and participate in the challenge, or at least watch the challenge. It's this incredible opportunity to see other people work with their cards, a way to get to know decks that you've never seen before, perhaps, and a way to get to know your own deck and your own heart and your own practice ever more fully. So yesterday I hit upon this idea for the way that I might do some deck dialogues between now and October 15th, as I too am still trying to figure out what deck I want to use. And I decided to set decks against each other as a way to kind of hone my conversations with the decks, but then also as a way to get some input from you guys. So I'm going to be featuring 2 decks side by side, doing what I call a deck dialogue, a kind of open-ended conversation with the cards. And please, in the comments below, I'd love to see your thoughts about which one of the 2 you think was a better fit for me, or was giving more responsive kind of engagement with me, or that seemed to enliven something in me, just what your opinions are. Now I'm going to start with, and I think I might make a couple of videos this evening and maybe post them separately, but in this video I'm going to start with 2 decks that feel very spare and open to me, okay, that give a kind of scaled back imagery that's very suggestive and intuitive, but in very different ways. And I'm going to start with a deck that is a deep and abiding favorite, Maggie Stiefvater's Raven's Prophecy. And I've actually been rereading the Raven Boy cycle, and God, is it good. It's so freaking smart and well written. Those are the only books of hers I've read, but I actually have Scorpio Races, is that what it's called? I have that sitting on my nightstand, and she has a deck that goes along with that. So I'm going to read that book, the next chance I have to read a novel. I've got a few other things that I'm reading right now, but I'm looking forward to reading that and then purchasing that tarot deck. Her tarot decks, well, at least Raven's Prophecy, you don't need to have read her books, but having read her books, the decks are richer. I'm sure that's true about the Scorpio Races tarot deck too. It's not called Scorpio Races. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it in the description. Okay, so this is the Raven's Prophecy, and this was a later edition. I actually have an early edition of it with the much thicker, mushier cardstock of Llewellyn's. This is a more bendy, pliable cardstock that I like better, and I edged it. Okay, so deck dialogue. Pardon me while I shuffle some more. So with these deck dialogues, it's just a chance for me to ask a super open-ended question to the deck. And then it's not exactly, I'm reading the cards, but I'm also asking the deck back with my reading to see if I've understood the message. So I'm trying to paraphrase back to the deck what I think the deck is saying to me, and that's deepening the dialogue, right? This is not a one-way process. This is hopefully an interactive and iterative process with the deck that kind of keeps opening things up a little bit more fully and anchoring me a little bit more fully in my own heart. Okay. Speaking of anchoring, I'm realizing that my energy is way up here. I've had a very intense few days doing some family stuff. Not necessarily bad intense, but just intense. So, grounding myself. You know, it feels different to hold a deck that you have a long-standing relationship with. But, you know, I've never systematically worked with this deck, and I haven't like used this deck to do multiple readings over a period of time. It's just a deck I keep coming back to. So I do find myself kind of like with last year's Drop 'em Dead Drop 'em tarot cards. No, Drop 'em 78. Oh my God. Just like last year's Drop 'em 78, I almost said it again, which I did with the Wild Unknown. There was something about doing this process, not necessarily with a deck you don't know at all, but with a deck that you actually know really well, but you haven't really given yourself over to. Okay. Yeah, Raven's Prophecy. What do you have to teach me? Page of Swords. Yeah, okay. How, you know, you're teaching me about how to learn a kind of precision with my heart mind, with my heart of understanding, how to write. I love this imagery here. You know, you see the sword, but you also see the feather, and the imagery of feathers in this deck, and just the reference to ravens. But here this feather is clearly a quill. So very much, you know, what does it mean for me to really anchor and ground myself in that activity of understanding? And maybe because Maggie Stiefvater, I mean, she's an artist, but she's a writer, maybe there's something here about writing and creative process. Often people think about the wands as the suit of creativity and inspiration, but for me, because of the kind of mind and heart I have, the swords are very much that, and this is telling me about embarking. Yeah, is that right? Are you saying that what you're going to be helping me do is to ground and anchor myself in the beginning of a kind of process of creativity, perhaps even a writing project? That's very specific. I don't usually ask such specific questions in these deck dialogues, but another page. Okay. So are you saying it's not just about mind, heart, it's also about body, that there's a kind of beginningness here, that you're wanting to get me anchored and grounded? Is this like preparatory work? Like getting me anchored and grounded to do work that is going to build, that's going to grow? Like the necessary work that I need to do right now. Oh, I keep getting strength reversed in these, in a bunch of readings. This strength card is fucking phenomenal. The hand with all of the tattoos on it is also another image for the magician in this deck. And the hands relate to wands in this deck very much. Is that right, or to swords? Swords. But aren't there hands in the wands? Yeah, no, the hands relate to swords. Yeah, so a kind of helping me with that relationship of putting my whole heart and body into this, and how do I open my hand? In Zen Buddhism, we there's a famous image for meditation, and actually for just even awakening, of opening the hand of thought. And so I think there's something here about me being able to do that, and you helping me. Am I on the right track here? Oh, yeah, okay. So maybe I'm not quite on the right track, but this is going to be transformative. A lot of the cards that I've been getting in these deck dialogues have been saying, you know, there's some stuff that you're going to need to push through. I've gotten a lot of 9 of Wands, like sort of, you're going to need some stamina, strength reversed. I've gotten that a lot, like just this sense of, okay, buckle up. So if I need to be entering into this time of transformation, and my strength, there's some blockage there. How am I right? How are you going to help? Are you offering to help with that? Okay. Yeah, 7 of Cups, you know, it was my July, I think. No, I'm sorry, my July was Tower. Yeah, it was another Tower July. It was my August card for this year, and so much about choice and options and finding our path forward, and that there's going to be loss in that. Okay, you're going to help me. I'm in a 7 of Cups time of my life right now, and you're going to help me. You're going to help ground me and anchor me in that page energy of earth and air. You're going to help me work with strength, with my stamina, with my ability to harmonize my various the various pieces of me. Yeah. And death. This is very much the Raven Boy cycle is very much about resurrection. That's what those books are about. So I think there's something here about rebirth and how this deck might help me with that. I am intrigued. This is for me as they call a deep reader. But see how spare the imagery is. It's really special. This is another really special spare deck, which I love, but actually have worked with almost not at all. And yet it's a deck that I instantly found charming and wonderful. The Linestrider Tarot by Siolo Thompson. And I have the indie version of it, but actually the later Llewellyn cardstock and some of the revised images, the crows. Speaking of Raven's prophecy, I've got a whole bunch of Corvid energy. Okay, guys, I'm thinking seriously about it, okay? And maybe those aren't crows. But they're pissed off, whoever they are. Okay. Linestrider. Sorry, I keep turning around. My setup out here is not what we call ideal. My setup nowhere is what we would call ideal. You guys are very patient with me. If you've lasted this long into this video, you are very patient with me. Okay. Oops. I had a little bit of a jumper. Fuck, man. I didn't even ask you yet. Okay, Seven of Cups. I get it. I get it. Wow. That is a fucking gorgeous image. You know, she's trying to hold all the shards, all the bits, all the reflections in this way in which the watercolor is bleeding up. Think about the Seven of Cups, you know, it's like a card that is very much about choices. You know, very much about choices. And yet, a card that recognizes why it's hard to make choices or to choose, and that is because something is always lost. There's some bloodletting that always happens. Okay, well, you already gave me some word here, but what is it that you want to teach me or to show me? I was getting Four of Pentacles yesterday. All right, something about holding. You know, the imagery in this deck isn't always straightforward to me at all. But I won't look at the guidebook now. You know, I'm seeing in this image a kind of weariness and wariness, and she is holding all of these pieces together, grabbing her jewels, maybe sort of on the retreat, trying to carry it all with her. So are you saying, I mean, the imagery of this deck itself kind of reflects this, you know, that you're going to try to teach me not to hold tightly so much? Or are you going to show me how to hold things rightly? This is a deck that I think asks for a kind of looseness, a kind of openness. Are you asking me to be less Four of Pentacles? Are you teaching me to be less Four of Pentacles and more Queen of Cups? Yeah. This is a very watery deck, right? You want to show me that. Okay. You want to show me how to be Queen of Cups? I still don't understand the Four of Pentacles, though. I don't understand that image. And is part of the problem that I try to understand too hard? Is that part of what I'm holding on to tightly? Yeah. Yes, you're saying, let it fly. Let it fly. Okay, it's beautiful. That felt like a very coherent reading, which is wonderful. The Raven's Prophecy was more complicated. It seemed more fragmented. This kind of anchored me down, but I still feel this attachment to the Raven's Prophecy. But what do you think between those two? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. As always, thank you for your practice.